What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be walking you guys through how I go about making, your normal trap beat. You know, those are getting kind of old, sampling's been becoming the big thing. But, that's how I learned to make beats is through trap beats. And then you could just venture on to different genres. So, if you guys have produced for a while, I'm guessing you guys have some of these basic sounds like, bells, strings, if you're a trap producer. I'm just gonna be making a really simple kind of melody, and I'm just pretty much gonna walk you guys through how mixing, laying out, making sure everything's on key. I'm just gonna walk you guys through how I do all that. So I'm just gonna load in a bell, some strings, real quick, and maybe a tubular bell, which I have right here. So just load up your sounds that you want to use. It doesn't have to be nothing like special. So I'm just gonna load these up real quick. Alright, so first thing I'm gonna lay down real quick is this little strings right here. I'm not gonna record it because some of you guys that might not have, MIDI keyboards might not enjoy that. So I'm just gonna key it in real quick. I'm not gonna be holding them out long. It's just gonna be like little plucks like that. And if you press Control B, it'll just copy it and then send it to like the closest thing that you selected. So that's pretty helpful. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the first half of the 4 bars. So I'm going to have 2 bars with this chord. And then I'm just going to do the same thing with the other 2 bars. But I'm going to take the very top note and I'm going to change it to a major note, which is you can do that by just dragging it up here. I'll do it right here so you guys can see like the notes that I'm doing if you weren't able to see that, or if you couldn't tell. So that's pretty easy. It's already kind of sound like a trap beat. So next thing I'm going to add in is the 2 bells, not the normal bells, the tubular bells. But one thing you got to keep in mind is, let's say, this strings are going to be your main pattern. The main note here is either going to be G or C. So when you come here to put in your bells, you don't want to put it on you just want to put it on C or G. So I think G sounds better. No, actually. Sounds better. Now it's coming together slowly. And after I get these 3 sounds, mixed in, I'm gonna show you guys how to go about mixing them. So now you can put in the bell, and you can do so many things with this. You can just do little patterns like that, but I think I'm gonna go somewhere else with it. I'm not just gonna have it play a note every bar. I'm just gonna kind of mess around, see what I can come up with. key. So now I'm going to show you guys how I go about mixing that. So when it comes to mixing, there's a few things you got to understand, and like it's not going to be that hard to understand. It's not rocket science. So this is a kind of an easy way to demonstrate it. So when you just click on the sounds that you want to put into the mixer, I accidentally already put the bell in there, but you would select all three of them, right click on the first empty track, right click link selected channels, and then starting from each track. So just get the three sounds in there, or if you just like load up the sound like right here, press Control L, it'll send it to the mixer if you want to do just one noise, like one sound. So let's start with just the bell. Let me solo that out. Just go over here to the right, click on the little drop down arrow, and do a Fruity Paramedic EQ. And you'll see a bunch of things like this. You'll see some people saying this is how you should EQ this instrument or so. The way you want to EQ it, or any instrument or anything you're doing, you want to EQ everything, of course. Like it's just like a must, unless it's perfect already, which at most cases it's not. You're just gonna want to play and you want to listen to it and just look at the lights. So you can see it's mostly in the mid or upper range. So what you could do is you could take one of these little things, move it over, just move it to the, so it's only in the light, and then over here at the right, when you have these four little bars, the one on the farthest left is the one that was over here. So if you go over here, go to that little dot, and you'll see a scroll thing come up, and if you just scroll that down, it'll make it sharper. So you can't really hear a difference even with headphones, but you could tell that if like this Paramedic EQ can change the sound. So you don't want to affect your sound unless you need to. You just want to cut out the excess. And with any instrument, even if there is areas where there's bass in it, you usually want to take it out and leave room for the sub bass or 808 and the kicks to, and all your drums just to kind of sit there so nothing is clashing with each other. So now that we got the bell, and I think I'm just going to add a delay to this. And the cut little knob on the delay is going to control how much delay you have. So if the cut is all the way up, but I'm going to turn down a lot so it's only like plays once or twice each time. So now we're just going to add in the string with the bell, because you want to mix everything together. You'll see a lot of people that will say solo out your instruments and mix them, but I like to mix them together so you know if you made anything sound different and if anything's messing with any other instrument. So I'm just going to do that again. Nothing really much else to add to the strings except for the EQ. Now here's something you'll find out with the tubular bell. Well, actually not this one because I'm not using low end. Forget I said that. And also there's still a little high treble, and I could cut off here just to help out a little bit in the whole mix. So that's not a really complex melody. It's just one that to just demonstrate to you guys about everything being key and like having everything mixed properly. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind is while you're listening to your beat while you're making it, just think about how you would want your drums to sound. But instead of just loading in random drums, it's just to have drums in there. Think about like what sound you would want to use. Like if you have a sound bank, if you guys don't have drum kits and stuff like that, you can just go online on YouTube mostly to get your first little few packs. The really nice ones cost a lot, or not a lot, but most of them cost money. But you can just find some basic packs to get you started now. So I have a bunch of pack, so I'm just going to be using a cardiac pack for this. And what a lot of people do is like not, oh, I don't know a lot of people that do this, but what a few people do that I know, is they'll sit here and listen to it while they're playing the samples to see if they can choose like a, well, I don't think you guys can hear that while it's playing, but I'm just gonna. So now you can start keying it in. Just to keep in mind where the snare will always go in like all of your songs, depending on the tempo you make it. If you're using the default tempo like I am, just for the sake of this video, is why I am. But every other gray or dark, gray button. So every other one. So I'm just going to solo out the drums real quick and lay these out. I'm just gonna add in a hi-hat every red dot actually. Now with that, I'm gonna take a hip-hop hi-hat. Just right-click the hi-hat and click fill each 2 steps. So now I'm going to show you guys how I go about mixing drums. You'll hear from a lot of people that you want to compress your drums, but honestly, most drums don't need to be compressed, in my opinion. Most drums just need to be EQ'd, and then I have no idea what that is. Just EQ'd the right way, and then like mess with the volume in the mixer, because compressing, what it can do is it can mess up your other sounds too. It could overpower it. Like, it'll sound nice while you have the drums, but it could overpower your instruments. Even if you did cut them out right and stuff, like, it still is possible for that to happen. I think I'm gonna layer another kick with this. If you go through a bunch of packs, you'll probably find these trap kicks that sound like this. They sound nice, but like they sound a lot better layered with a kick that's really low pitch. See, like if I just had the trap. So now I'm just going to play everything and see how all this sounds together. think I'm just gonna layer the clap with a snare. I mean, not a. I'm gonna layer a snare with the clap. That's what I meant to say. Does sound pretty nice so far. Now, last thing I'm gonna do real quick is, this is kind of a hard decision to make when making most beats. If you want to use a sub bass or an 808, this beat kind of calls for a 808 more than a sub bass, in my opinion. More realistic sounding beats, you might want to use a sub bass. Well, here's this thing that you won't do with all your other instruments, because most instruments will be tuned to like the C note. But with most 808s, they're not. And you can check this by clicking on your 808 once you drag it in here. Right-clicking this little waveformat, clicking Edit. And then it'll pull it up in Edison. Now you can just right-click this little thing that looks like a flag and click Detect Pitch Regions. So as you can see, it starts out as A major but goes to G major. Usually the second one of the 808 is the one that you could tell out the most. So the main thing we used in this beat is C. But G major is up here. So what you want to do is when you're at G major, just count down how many notes, like including majors, how many it is to C. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 notes down on the 808 will be in tune. So if we keep this in, it wouldn't sound right. But if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down, it'll sound deeper, but it sounds more in tune. So since I don't want to key in all that stuff again, you could just copy over the kick thing, add it to send it to piano roll, and then just drag it down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now another thing you need to do is you need to right click on it, click cut itself on the 808 so nothing overlaps. Then you gotta add in those trap little high 808 parts, like. Now, if you don't want to just play the note, like let's say in a lot of trap beats, you hear them slides in their basses. You could do that really easily by coming up here to the top left corner of this and clicking this little thing that looks like a triangle, like I don't really know what you would call it. But you would just take out that note and then just put it back, and you'll see a triangle next to it. And now instead of playing that note, it's going to slide to that pitch. So now what I'm going to do is right here at the end, I'm going to add one back down. So like this one will just slide out and go back down.